Have you ever heard of the Devil's Paradox? So
I've heard of it, but what is it?
I forgot of this.
Oh yeah, so it's a really interesting thought experiment. It's kind of similar. So let's say you're in purgatory, right? It's not good.
Between heaven and hell.
Yeah, it's not terrible, right?
Limbo.
Yeah. And the devil comes to you and he says, hey, by the way, hell's really bad, but heaven is also like, you know, better than you could imagine, right? Let's just imagine that. And he says, you're going to be in purgatory basically indefinitely. But if you come to hell for one day, you sign this contract, come to hell for one day, I'll give you like 10 days in heaven. Right? Do you sign the contract? And then you go back to purgatory just to.
That's it. That's the whole contract is 1 day in hell for 10 days in heaven.
Yeah. Let's just, this is just the beginning of the thought experiment, but I just need you to say yes or no.
Yeah.
I would say no.
No.
I feel like I'd say no too.
Hell seems too intense.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say no.
So how about 100? New contract.
100 days. Ooh, more interesting. I'd do that.
Okay.
I think I'd probably do it.
Okay. End of day one, you survived. It was bad, but you survived. Okay. At the end of day one, he goes, okay, here's your 100 days. You're about to get 100 days. But remember, eternity, purgatory. Okay. New contract. I'll give you 200 more days.
For?
One more day.
Okay, I'll take it.
You take it?
Sure. So like at the end of day one, I'm about to go to heaven, but he's like, can you do one more? If you do one more day, I'll double it. And you're like, fuck it. I just did one. I'll do two.
Yeah.
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 No,
So
no,
now,
this is after your 100 days. He just gave you a better deal.
No. This is after
Oh,
day
you
one.
upgraded my deal.
Yeah. So I said for one more day, now if you sign this contract, you'll actually have 300 days.
I'd still do it.
I would
I'm
do
like,
a whole nother week probably.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay. But at the end of the week, okay, I like this. So let's just skip ahead. So you got 1,400 days.
No. I'm assuming you're going to keep doing this for another week.
Okay.
You're folding the paper, bro.
But I'm
7 days straight.
You
get what I'm saying here?
No, but when you're like, I'm done. You're going to say I'm done, right? You're going to, at some point you're going to say I'm done. But
yeah, because you wouldn't need,
no, hear me out.
Eternity.
But now I'm going to, eternity. But now I'm going to say, okay, 200. All right, listen, I'll give you 500 more for one more day.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next day, I'll give you 500 more. You do it?
Yeah, I told you I'd give a whole week.
Okay, but at the end of the week,
I'm out.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll give you 1,000 days for one more day.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'll give you 10,000 days.
I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out.
1,000,000 days.
I'll do it for
15 years,
10,000 days. I'll do it for 1,000,000 days.
1,000,000 days is a different level, yeah.
Okay.
But then after heaven,
So,
you have to go
do
to
you wanna sign?
purgatory for
Huh?
eternity.
You want to sign?
One more day,
Yeah.
and I get 1,000,000 back.
Yeah.
I'll sign.
Okay, so you're not done after a week.
I am because the marginal effect of it isn't worth it. I've negated now 15 years of happy. Like I can be happy for 15 years and then deal with this shit again. I'm okay with that. Which is the same philosophy I have at the core.
Okay, but
about eating well to live
do
longer.
you see where this is going? The reason why this is called the devil's paradox is
Because you
he's
just
playing with
stay in hell.
infinity.
Yeah.
So he can up the. You already said yes to 100,
Yeah.
right? So logically, you wouldn't ever not say yes to a
Dollar
million.
cost averaging. It's basically it.
But
You wouldn't ever
you
not
wouldn't
say yes to
ever
a
say
million.
not yes to 1,000,000.
1,000,000 is different than 100, though. Bro.
I know.
No, I'm giving you a
But
new
he's saying
contract.
the benefit is he's playing with infinity.
I can do whatever I want.
He'll go, okay, now will you do one more day for
1,000,000,000.
a billion? Will you do one more day for 1,000,000,000,000? And you're
How
like,
about
yeah.
5
I don't
trillion?
need them. And eternity.
Because eternity. Because even after the trillion, you're still going back to purgatory.
For another infinity trillions.
Yeah.
You always got to do one more day in
So
hell.
I guess eternity is what I'm neglecting here. I'm like, okay, I'll die after 80 years. I'm okay.
No, you're not dying.
'Cause
Yeah.
you're in purgatory. You're dead. You're already dead, technically.
So the whole point here is that you already said yes to 100. There's no way you're going to turn down 1,000,000,000 for one more day.
Yeah.
Because he's playing with eternity, right? The next contract is even better. Well, you just said yes to 1,000,000. How about 5,000,000?
I get it,
How about 10,000,000? How about 20,000,000? And the paradox is that you'll never actually leave hell. Because it'll never make sense to not take the contract.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
it's like a kind of a mind fuck, and it's
You'll spend a whole fucking year in hell at the very least.
yeah, for sure. But at the end of that year, even then, at the end of the year,
Right,
the
deal will just be
366th
so
day,
fucking
the deal
juicy,
is
I
like,
have to
yeah,
take it.
you're like, well, I gotta take
Fuck
that.
me, bro. 20 trillion. Damn, bro. I'll sign.
Right? It's an interesting thought experiment, and I feel like this is kind of. I think about this is also kind of like the reverse of the marshmallow test.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have you heard of that? Where
What is
the
it again?
There's like this Stanford experiment. It's kind of controversial now because the people have said that they haven't like replicated it, but it's a longitudinal study where they had a kid. They would give him a marshmallow in front of him, and they said, "We're going to leave the room for 10 minutes, and if you don't eat the marshmallow, we'll give you 2 marshmallows." And then
It's like, how long will he starve before eating a marshmallow?
I mean, he's not starving. He's,
But like, that's the point, right?
yeah, the point was that they followed the kids, and more than their IQ and more than the financial status of their parents, it was predictive of success in a bunch of metrics of whether or not they could delay gratification to wait for the 2 marshmallows.
Wow.
Right? So I feel like it's like the reverse of that. And it kind of weird. It's this idea of like what are you willing to do for what? These types of thought
Opportunity
experiments.
cost experiments.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're kind of always playing that game with a lot of things in life, like exercise, your daily routines, what you eat. You know, you're always kind of
Giving and taking.
You don't realize that that's what you're doing. But if you're eating, really bad for 50 years, like you are probably giving up 20 or 30 years. Or I really like smoking, to be clear. I really like cigarettes. I love smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
I love it. My whole 20s, I smoked cigarettes. Like writer, like just the total thing. Hemingway, like go outside and think about whatever and listen to a song and then come back and, write
I
and,
get
like,
the
my
vibe.
novels. It was like the
totally
whole
get
thing.
the
I
vibe.
fucking loved it.
Coffee and cigarettes, probably.
And I still love it. But I haven't smoked in, I don't know, 6 or 7 years or something, right? But
Was that a super hard thing to give up?
no, once I like made the shift, it
was more mental.
Yeah,
than
for
physical.
sure. For sure.
Interesting.
But I feel like I've thought about this. Well, if I smoke for the next 50 years, I could probably make it to 70 or 80, probably.
Yeah.
Right? But I probably will die like 75, 80
Mm-hmm.
if I smoke for the next 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't smoke and eat a little bit healthier and I go on runs and I kind of do some resistance training, I could probably live to like 95. Like I've thought about this like on purpose, right? So do I want to live I really like whiskey, I really like pizza, I really like burritos, and I'm just going to dig into that, and I can still be a badass entrepreneur, and I can still be rich, and I can still travel, and I can
You can still live till 85, 90.
You could still live to 85, yeah. And let's say I smoke, maybe I live to 80 or 75, right? Do I want that? That I feel like maybe in the moment it's more pleasurable, it's more enjoyable. Or do you play the game where you're like, no, I think I'm going to get an extra 20 years or an extra 25 years?
Hope you got value out of that clip. If you want to see the full episode where that clip was from, click right over here. If you want to see other short clips just like that one, feel free to click anywhere on this side of the screen. But most importantly, I want you to hit that subscribe button right here and subscribe to the channel so you can be up to date when new clips are dropped.